Hi everybody, this is Steven, also known as KnitFen on Instagram and Ravelry, and you are watching the Mingled Yarncast. Want to apologize, it's been a while since my last episode. There have been a lot of interesting life events that have happened in the intervening month or more. I think it's been maybe a month and a half. Apologies. But there has been a lot going on, and I'm going to tell you all about it, and it's going to connect to some of the projects and yarny experiences that I want to talk about today. So here's the gist of it. Back before I did the last episode, right before that, I mentioned that I was going to be heading to Atlanta, which I did at the very beginning of November. I went down there for a friend's wedding. And while I was there, I visited the Craftivist yarn shop, which was really, really cool. I'm going to share with you what I purchased there and what I plan to do with it. Then, later that week, I went to Spain for the first time. I went to Seville, which, funny enough, was the setting of Carmen, which I was in about 2.5 weeks before the trip, just as a coincidence that was not planned. That was just life being funny, I guess. So, then I was in Spain. Then as soon as I came back from Spain, I had to have a bit of skin cancer removed from my cheek right here. It's healing nicely, but I was in a bit of pain and looking a bit of a mess, like I'd been in a fight. But I was very, very grateful for the wonderful doctors that I had at Schweiger Dermatology, and they got rid of it all in one go, and that was that. But there was quite a bit of healing time, and it's healing well. So I don't want to dwell on that. Not fishing for sympathy. I just want you to know that that's one of the things that was going on that kept me from working on the new episode. And then, just when I was about ready to do it again, my laptop broke, and that's where I do the editing. So I had to wait until the new laptop came in, and now it's here. And then I tried to do this last week, and as I filmed it, as I was watching what I had filmed, I realized the lighting was so bad. And right now, just the time of year that we are here in the Northern Hemisphere, in New York City, it gets dark kind of early. Right now it's going on 4 o'clock. Yeah, 3:51. And it's already starting to get a little darker, and this is about the time that I have to film this, when I have the apartment to myself and some quiet. So, it just didn't work. I'm sorry about that. But I do want to share with you a little bit of the beginning from the last video, because I was able to sit in front of the little Christmas tree and show you the nice view. So let me insert that here. I want to first actually take you on a journey. We're kind of just at the end of the sunset here. Let me see if you can... There we go. There we go. You can see the beautiful Manhattan skyline in its pastel glory. However, you cannot see both it and me, so there you go. But you can see my Christmas tree. Hope you like that. A little festive. I've had that tree since I moved to New York. My mother sent it to me, and it was just unthinkable to her that I would live anywhere without a Christmas tree at Christmas time. So she sent me that small little tree, and I've had it ever since, and it's covered with ornaments that she's given me throughout my lifetime, starting with year 1 and going up to the present moment. So it's very special. Maybe okay, you know what, I'll just show you one. Hold on. Oops. This is my baby ornament. Yes, 1977, that is the year I was born. This is probably from Hallmark, and isn't it cute? So there you go. There you go, I hope you enjoyed that. Now, since the lighting is still not great, I will be investing in a ring light or something like that. Please don't worry. We won't be in the bathroom forever, but that is where we are right now, because I have a constant source of light. And, a relatively clean space. I am sitting on a stool. I am not coming to you from the toilet. So just know that we're in a nice clean space and it's going to be great. So let's let's talk some more, shall we? Since the episode is going to touch upon trips to Atlanta, trips to Spain, I figured I'd make this sort of the travel episode and share with you a finished object that has connections to Paris as well. And yeah, so let's go on a journey, shall we? Beginning with, let me check my notes. Okay. Did I forget anything? No, I didn't. Okay, so Atlanta. This was a really cool trip. Obviously, a wedding, as I mentioned. Weddings are always fun. Who doesn't love a wedding? But this one was particularly special because it was my first time meeting the bride in person. We've been friends for a couple of years now because during the height of the lockdown phase of the pandemic, I took some classes with Advanced Studies in England, which is the school that I worked at in Bath and also studied at in 1998. So in order to stay afloat during the lockdown, the school ran a series of alumni courses that were all via Zoom or Google Classroom or something like that. So I took a lot of medieval history courses, and then I took some courses on, what were they? Viragos, powerful women of the Middle Ages, and then there was a class on the history of witchcraft, not as it's practiced, but as it was persecuted. And an Agatha Christie course, a sensationalist literature course. They just offered really, really wonderful courses. And those are the ones I took. They had a whole menu of really great options. And these were 5-week courses, only for alums of the program. And in that way, I got to meet a lot of people from all over the country and the world. And we became friends, which was really kind of odd, I guess. I mean, not in the grand scheme of things. It's not odd that we should become friends, but to me, it's odd that such a strong friendship should form from an online class. I mean, it wasn't what any of us were there for, but it is what we've left with. And I think that's great. That's really, really cool that life can bring people together in that way. So there's a group of us, 4 of us, and we are sort of bonded through our love of history and the arts, in particular sort of medieval through early modern, I guess, history. And anyway, we've texted and chatted, and we've done Zoom movies and book clubs and all kinds of things over the intervening 2 years, but we had never met in person. At least I had never met the other 3. I think 2 of them were friends with each other. So this wedding came up, and we were all invited, and I went and I met these friends of mine in person for the very first time, and it was a really, really wonderful experience. We had a terrific time. I will try to insert some pictures here. Let's see if that's happening. Oh, good. There you go. You can see us. Okay. Anyway, we call ourselves the Victorian Widows Club because, as we are bonded through our love of historical gossip, knitting, and gin cocktails, we felt that kind of was the vibe we were going for. That was the archetype that we were inhabiting, a Victorian widow. Hence, the Victorian Widows Club. And I want to share, I hope they won't mind me doing this, the others, but I want to share with you a video that I had made for our Victorian Widows Christmas party last year, as we called the Widowmas, where we did a secret gift exchange. And I got a cameo from Dan Jones. Now, if you don't know Dan Jones, you should. You should look him up and you should watch all of his videos because they're fabulous. But he's a medieval historian, British, and he does just wonderful documentaries. They're on Netflix, they're on YouTube, you can find them anywhere. But he also, for $30, will give you a cameo video. If you're not familiar with Cameo, it's where you can get celebrities of all different stripes, whether they're actors, athletes, musicians, etc., some who are just notorious public people. You pay the price, and they'll make a video for you, and you tell them what you want them to say. And they do it, and it's really kind of fun. So last year, for our Widowmas, this is the video that I asked Dan Jones to make. And I'm sharing it because it's fun, and you will see what a good sport he is, and yeah, look him up. Cue to video, cut to video, whatever it is you're supposed to say. Go.
Well, hello Emily, Rachel, Wes and Stephen, brackets me. It was Stephen who booked this. Very nice to meet you. Very nice to hear you're big fans. Never get tired of hearing that sort of stuff. And you know, one of my favourite phrases in the world is every day's a school day. And it was only today that I heard of the Victorian Widows Club, the VWC. And I feel especially privileged to know that there's a Victorian Widows Club Secret Santa Widowmas. That's a phrase I couldn't have conceived of before lovely Stephen requested this video. Anyway, happy Victorian Widows Club Secret Santa Widowmas to all y'all. Glad you've been getting your medieval history online. Very pleased to hear you like historical gossip, wine, knitting and Bath. And just all in for secret societies, really. Read a lot of Enid Blyton as a child. That might explain it. Hope you have a lovely time. Lots of love. Take care.
Okay. Wasn't that fun? I did another one too for the wedding, but I will leave that one private because I did get it for the bride. So we will leave that one there. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, we had a great time. And while I was there, I was not part of the wedding party, so during the day of the wedding, I had the whole morning to wander around Atlanta. And I had one goal in mind. I wanted to go to the Craftivist yarn shop because I was familiar with it through Instagram and seeing other people going there. So I looked it up on the map, saw it was roughly walking distance, about an hour's walk from where I was staying, so I walked there. Along the way, I passed by and through the different Martin Luther King Jr. memorial sites, including his and Coretta Scott King's tomb, which is a beautiful monument. If you're in Atlanta, you really do need to go see that. It's very poignant, special, just really, really a powerful place to reflect and to, just to go there and think about the world as it was, the world as it is, and who we are and what we can do to make things better for each other. After going there, I made my way to the Craftivist, and I went in not intending to purchase anything in particular. I didn't have a project in mind. I figured I would just get some sock yarn and call it a day. But fate had a different plan in mind. So I saw these yarns here. Oh, the color's turning up pretty close. A little faded, maybe. This is a very chartreusey green. It's very, very bright. And like I say, you get the gist of it, but it is actually brighter in person. But I found this and these, and they are all from Emma's Yarn. It is her Crazy Beautiful color line, and it is the Practically Perfect sock yarn. So I saw these. I love the colors, ranging from, well, very chartreuse to greeny chartreuse to bluey, and then these sort of eggplanty, dark purpley colors. And what I want to make with these is the Lava Lake shawl, which is a Stephen West pattern, which I saw recently when I was at Rhinebeck. Kevin from Needles at the Ready was showing his Lava Lake shawl that he made with this set of yarns. Sorry, I don't know what you're looking at right now as I'm bending over here. Here we go. I've got all my stuff to show you on the floor. Anyhow, this was a set of yarn that Stephen West put together, or Stephen and Penelope's shop put together. So much So much labor. Okay. These are from Ching Fiber. Very crunchy labels, as you can probably hear. And when I saw these on Instagram months and months ago, I had no idea what I was going to make, but I just knew that they were gorgeous and I loved them. You can't even see in these lighter ones you can kind of, the greens that are in there, but they're all, it looks white on the video. It's actually a very, very pale green. So it goes from very pale green to very rich, lush, jungly green. And anyway, I was going to make the Lava Lake shawl with these, but when I saw Kevin's, I thought, that is beautiful and perfect, and but he's already done it, so I'm going to do something different. And I don't know exactly which shawl I want to make with them yet. I do have one in mind. I can't remember the name of it, but you'll see it when I do it. But anyway, I still wanted to make the Lava Lake shawl, just not with these. So I'll be doing it with these, and I'm looking forward to that. So this will be a nice way to, I think, commemorate my trip to Atlanta, meeting friends for the first time, and have something beautiful and warm to wrap up with that will remind me of that trip. I don't know how many of you... Schmutzing. Okay. Sorry. I don't know how many of you buy yarn when you travel, but it's something that I like to do. It helps to, I don't know, for me, it becomes attached to the memory of the experience, and, obviously that is what the word souvenir means in French, to remember. But little trinkets and things don't always do that for me, but getting yarns and then sitting and working them into something and thinking about the place and the people, that, I don't know, just really does it for me, and I love that. So I'm looking forward to getting to that shawl pretty soon. But first, let me see, where are we going next? So that was Atlanta. The wedding was a blast. It was really, really fun. From there, went to Spain. And when I tried to film this before, I was not done with the sweater, but it is finished now. And, and in this light, it kind of looks like the right colors. I'm going to just hold this up for you all to see. Yeah, the colors are, it's much more vibrant in person, so just know that in this space, everything's a little bit dulled. I will try to make that better, I promise you. Let me tell you about this. So let me tell you first about the trip. I had never been to Spain. I've done a lot of traveling in my time. I love to travel. I frequently will take students abroad from my school, and we've had some amazing experiences that way. But I'd never been to Spain, so I had an opportunity to do a very, very brief trip. It was only 3 or 4 days in Seville and back, so very brief, but it was great in that we stayed in just one city and did things right around there. So I, got to know the place pretty well, and really, really loved it. One of the most memorable things that I will probably never forget from the trip was we went to a nearby olive grove and had the gosh, I don't know what you call it. I don't know if he's a farmer or producer, yeah, olive producer, an olive oil producer, because that's kind of the main source of income and product that's coming out of the place. But anyway, he walked us through his groves. It was beautiful landscape, perfect weather, and then through the olive oil processing plant, which sounds, that term doesn't sound like it's going to be nice. This is a family-owned place, not a huge, large-scale production. Very, very small, and as soon as you walked into it, the smell of the olive oil just overpowered everything. It was so redolent in the air, and it was really, really tasty. And so we saw each step of the process of making the olive oil, and we got, lectures and lessons about the harvest, the olives, all of that. And then they served us a lunch where they made gazpacho and paella and different things right there, with the olive oil that they made right there. And we all ate and drank sangria, and it was perfect. It was really a wonderful trip. So when I wear this sweater, that is something that I think about. I also think about being in Carmen, because I started this when we were rehearsing Carmen, and I think I even had a picture or two of working on it backstage when we were between scenes during the day of the show. So yeah, the colors of it to me are suggestive of the place. Burnt oranges and dull's not the right word. Muted yellows and gray blues and things like that. But gorgeous, gorgeous colors, and I wish you could really see it in its glory. I'm going to put it on in just a moment, but I want to talk more about the construction of it, because not only is it special for where it's been, but it is also special because this is the first sweater that I have ever made without a pattern. I guess I can say that I designed it. Yeah, I did. Oops. Sorry, my screen just went off. And now we're back. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I designed it myself. And what I did was I had these yarns. The yarns, by the way, are Malabrigo Rios, and they're worsted weight. The colorways there's two different colorways mixed in here. The one is Vulcan, and the other is Playa. The bluish one is Playa. The orangish one is Vulcan. And I bought these at a shop, Christie's Just For You, which is in northern Ohio. These are the yarns that I was going to use to make a commemorative Ohio sweater, my Fisherman's Gansey, which I posted about over a year ago. That didn't quite happen yet. It will happen, I'm sure, but not with these yarns, because over time, they just started to speak to me in a different way. And I noticed, I went 2 years ago, and I picked up all the blues, all the Playa. I had enough for a sweater. And then the next year I went back and I got all of the Vulcan, and I had enough for a sweater. So I had intended to do a Gansey in just one of the colors. But as the colors sat there in my closet, in my stash, I started to look at them together, and I liked how they blended. And so I just played around with them for a little bit. What I did then was, I've always kind of had this fascination with the Eye of Partridge stitch, which I first learned from doing sock heels. And I liked it so much, I thought, I'd like something bigger in this. It's my favorite part of the sock is the heel in this stitch. I want something that's all that. Now, I didn't realize until much later that I was doing Eye of Partridge wrong pretty much all the time, because done correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that I'm right because I have looked this up, you are basically slipping stitches with the yarn in back, and then the next row, if you're going flat, you would purl across, and then when you go across again, you slip stitches in the back, only you do the opposite stitch from before. So what you get is some slip stitches that, on the fabric, they grow and they look a little bigger, and then the ones next to them kind of shrink a little bit, and it does give you I can see why they call it the Eye of Partridge. I can visualize that based on the shape of the little dip that it makes. However, what I did wrong the very first time I did it was I kept slipping the yarn in front. And I mentioned this in the previous episode, and a lot of people jumped in the comments to let me know that what I was doing was either linen stitch or close to it. There are some people that said linen stitch is slipping every row. What I've done is slipped the stitches every other row, so there's a little space in between them. So it is it's a lovely effect, I think. Even if you can't see the colors vibrantly, you can see how they play with each other here. And it makes for a great texture, and Yeah. So I wanted a sweater that was all my Eye of Partridge stitch, and that's what I got. So I cast on first here with just a basic tubular cast on. There we go, and one by one rib. Did that for a little bit. Created a little hilly effect here at the bottom, and then shifted into the blue. Had in my mind looked like a mountainous desert sunset kind of a feel. And then as I went along, I just changed color as the mood struck me. You can see there are parts that are bluer, parts that are more orange, and that was just a change that I made going along because it suited me. And anyway, after doing all that, obviously I did this from the bottom up. When I got to the sleeves, I did the same thing. Oh, one other thing though to tell you, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I didn't get all of the Vulcan in that first purchase at Lake Erie. I had half of it, so I had to order the rest. And I know that I'm not supposed to get separate dye lots for the same project. Always get all the yarn you need all at once so that it's the same, correct? Well, I didn't have enough. They didn't have enough, so I had to. And when I ordered it, I thought it might be a little different. It was way different. It was so much redder. Like, it was a different color. It was not the same colorway at all, in my opinion. But still really cool. And I thought, well, I'm going to be mixing these up so much anyway that I can work that in there. And so what I did was on the sleeves, you can kind of see it here. Yeah, so they're more orange at the bottom, but as they go up, I worked in the redder Vulcan. And so that gives it kind of I think, a sunset effect. And then when I got to midway, I changed the stitches just to add something a little different. So I did basically a seed stitch. Here you go. You can kind of see where the texture changes there. So it creates a little band kind of at the chest. And then the only thing that, looking back on it now, I don't love, is that I attached the sleeves, made them raglan shoulders, which I like that, actually. That turned out well, I think. I don't know how well you can see that. There we go. Yeah. But I wanted to do short rows. And when you're doing two colors with the short rows, when you go, around and then you're going back around, well, then they double up that color. And it created, if you can see here, you know what? Why don't I just put it on? It might be easier that way. Let's see if I can do this with the magic of film editing. Boop. I feel so Gen Z when I do tricks like that. Okay, so now you can see it. It's here's the thing that I don't love. When I did the short rows, I went back and then it created these triangles here. Sorry, my fingers are going in weird ways because I'm expecting the screen to mirror me and it does not mirror me. It's doing the opposite. It's very weird. I was trying not to look at the screen. Maybe that will help. So yeah, here, there's this place where it comes together like that. And I don't know. I don't love it. It's not the end of the world. But I don't love it. So, let's get back again. Anywho, this is it. And now you can see it fits really, really well. It's very fitted. And I like that. That's really what I wanted. I was a little concerned. I did measure it. I took my gauge swatch. I thought about, how many stitches I needed to cast on. I did all the math. But even so, as it was going along, it was still it was still looking like it was going to be tight. And it is, but not uncomfortably so. It really isn't. It really feels great. It feels like a hug. And I can put the sleeves up. It's very comfortable. I really, really love it. And I'm really just proud of the fact that I know enough now that I can just cast on and make a sweater without having to consult a pattern and do too much else. Just my own know-how. That's pretty cool, right? I don't know if I'll write up this design. I don't know. You tell me if you would like me to. Maybe I will. But the basic gist of it is cast on at the bottom, for the waistline, fake eye of partridge or linen stitch, whatever you want to call it, all the way around till you get here. Same thing with the sleeves. Increase at regular points, attach them, decrease. Voila, it's all. That's all it is. That's all it took. If I can do it, you can do it. So, that's that. Now I'm just going to sit here and wear it. Next, show notes. Oh, I had mentioned that I do like to buy yarn when I travel. I tried to in Spain. I did find a yarn store, but it was closed, and therefore I didn't buy any. So this is my connection to that experience. Okay, let me now show you a work in progress. There we go, work in progress. Two of them, actually. I mentioned earlier the Victorian Widows Club and our Widowmas. And I am working on, I just started these today, actually, using the same Vulcan Malabrigo Rios. I'm using the two different colorways held together to create a chunky yarn. And I'm making, this is going to be a set of mitts, the Maunder mitts, which were the September pattern of Knit Crate. And it will go kind of like this. I'm just at the point where I'll be creating the thumb hole, and it will basically be a sleeve. So there's that. These are going to be a gift for one of the Victorian widows. I'm saying that even if they watch it, they don't know whose name I've drawn. So if you see this, these could be yours. But anyway, just cast these on today. Really, really a fun, quick pattern. All of this took about an hour, and I'm hoping that the rest of it, maybe 3 or 4 hours tops for one mitt, and then I've got to do the other. I'm planning to do, did I bring the others? Maybe I didn't. Planning to use the actual Knit Crate yarn, which was an alpaca, and to also make these for my mother and my grandmother. And yeah. So that's one thing. The next I've made a little more progress on. This is, that actually turns out pretty nicely. Let me just pull it up here. This is the Painting Chevrons shawl by Stephen West. And his original pattern is about twice as big, twice as wide. I made it shorter so that it could be worn more as a scarf eventually. There we go. Anyway, this is made with Manos del Uruguay Fino. I can't remember the names of the colorways, but once I finish it, I will, of course, share all that specific information with you. But I love it. I'm sure many of you have done there are many painting projects done by Stephen West, the Painting Bricks shawl. I've done, what else did I do? I haven't done the Painting Bricks shawl yet. Painting Waves, the Painting Waves shawl. Lots of the painting shawls. And I love the way that they all have this stained glass effect. I think it's really, really elegant, sleek, and beautiful. And there you go. Yep, this is going to be a gift too. And yeah, Christmas is close and I'm nowhere near finished. But you know what? People will get their gifts when they get them and they'll be grateful. They better be. Next. Okay, next. I'm going to tell you about today's finished object, which, okay, the sweater is a finished object. But when I first wrote this episode notes, wrote up the notes, I was not finished with the sweater yet. So what I was going to show you is this. And this, also Stephen West, but not one of the painting shawls. This is the Rain or Shine shawl. And let's see here. Ta-da! Isn't that lovely? I wish you could feel it. It's so soft. It's made with Rowan Kid Silk mohair. And this pattern, oh my gosh, I've got it on backwards. You can't see the rain or shine effect. Now you can. So this is made with different, every few rows. Let me start again. The different sections are marled. They're each two colors held together. And you can see this rainy effect, the drizzling that looks as though it's happening. That's created with slip stitches. And it's, I don't know, having done several of his pieces now, this one is just quiet, simple, beautiful, not hard at all, very, very easy, a good beginner project, especially if you're somebody who's looked at West Knits and all the different things he does, some of which are very, very complicated. He always does a great job of teaching you how to do it, but they can be complicated. This one is so not complicated, and it's really a great project. So it has a special history for me too. So anyway, I'm getting very warm now, by the way. It's kind of hot. I don't know how much longer I can wear this and the sweater. But the yellow that you see, this was a yarn. The yellow is not Rowan Kid Silk. In fact, I don't know what it is. It didn't have a label that I could read because I bought it in Paris in 2020. And I do know that it was from Italy. But anyway, I got the yellow in Paris in 2020. It was in February of 2020. So it was right before the world shut down. And it would be 2 years before I traveled anywhere again. And as it happens, the place that I traveled to the first place I traveled to internationally after the lockdown period and earlier this year, in fact, it was in June, was back to Paris. So Paris sort of bookended my, lockdown pandemic experience. And I thought going back, I bought this yarn there, the yellow. I had no idea what I was going to do with it. But I thought I need to do something with it. I want to start something and take it back with me and work on the project while I'm there. And I wanted to go back to the shop where I bought it and see, for one, if the shop was still there. And just to let the people there know that, I had this special yarn that I purchased there years ago. And I wanted to show them what I had done with it. So that's exactly what I did. I didn't have it completed by the time I went. I had only just begun it, but I had enough of it that I could show them the progress that I was making. And I did. So the shop is called Cat Laine, and I know laine is wool in French. I don't know if Catlin refers to a name, or I know nothing about it. It's CAT apostrophe LAINE. But in any case, I went there, and the woman who owns the shop explained to me in French. Her English wasn't so good, and my French is decent enough that I can understand and follow a conversation if it's one-on-one, and I can really focus on what the person's saying. If it's too many people speaking very quickly, I'm lost. But one-on-one I can do, and I can also speak one-on-one. So I asked her, I showed her what I was working on. I explained I had come there before. Here is what I've done with this beautiful mohair that you've sold me. And she was very touched. She told me that she did nearly close. I think they were completely shut down for 2 or 3 months, she said. And after that point, she didn't know if she was going to make it, because I don't believe that she was set up to do online orders very well. She really relied on the brick and mortar. And so, yeah, it was really hard. But then they did open up again, and she's still there, and the shop is there. At least it was in June, so I assume it still is. And yeah, so it was a beautiful experience just getting to see her again and to, you know, like I said before, bookend this period of time that we've all lived through, suffered through, and survived. So that was really touching. I had wonderful experiences too, just going to sit in the Tuileries and to work on it there. The hotel we were staying in was relatively close to there, so it was an easy walk in the morning. And I did go, and sometimes, like in Spain, the picture that I posted earlier was just a picture. It was such a busy trip, I didn't have a whole lot of time to sit around and knit. But actually in France I did. I spent about an hour each morning just sitting there and working on this shawl. So the Tuileries and the people are very much a part. Sorry, the screen went black again. So if I got cut off, what I just said was the Tuileries and the people and the birds and the ducks and those beautiful statues, the Louvre and the backdrop, all of that is part of this shawl. And it's just so soft. It's just so nice. So this is my rain or shine shawl, and it commemorates Paris. It commemorates the 2 years of being locked down, remote, hybrid, all the rest of it. And it's kind of a celebration of all of that being over. And once again, there you go. It's just gorgeous. So, having said all of that, do I have anything else to share with you? I didn't say where I bought the yarn for that. The Rowan Kid silk I purchased at Knitty City here in New York City on the Upper West Side. Great shop there, very, very friendly people. They did a lot to help me pick the colors, and went into the back room and pulled out a whole other stash of colors that weren't on display, so that was really great. I think that's it. Yeah. So, till next time, everybody. Pause. Oh, you know what? There is one more thing I wanted to do. Being that this is the Mingled Yarncast, and as I've explained, and as you've probably gathered, it's not ever going to be just about knitting and yarn, although it will be mostly about knitting and yarn. It's also about all of the different things in life that I mingle in myself, different arts, different moments, and things that I want to share with you, and things that I'd like to hear from you. So in that spirit, I wanted to make a habit of including a reading of some kind, a poem or a passage from a book, something that kind of connects to the knitting and the pieces that we're talking about today. So this piece that I'm wearing, speaking of mingled yarn, you can just see the ways that it all mixes together. And it's very, very dappled. it fizzes and pops and bubbles in a sense. And it made me think of the line from Gerard Manley Hopkins about the beauty of dappled things. And I wanted to go to that poem, which is called Pied Beauty. Pied Beauty. And I'm going to share this with you. It is Gerard Manley Hopkins. And this is Pied Beauty. Glory be to God for dappled things, for skies of couple color as a brinded cow, for rose moles all in stipple upon trout that swim, fresh fire coal, chestnut falls, finch's wings, landscape plotted and pieced, fold, fallow, and plough, and all trades, their gear and tackle and trim. All things counter, original, spare, strange, whatever is fickle, freckled, who knows how, with swift, slow, sweet, sour, a dazzle, dim. He fathers forth whose beauty is past change. Praise him. Pied Beauty by Gerard Manley Hopkins. This will be the last time that I speak to you all this year, I think. So, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Today is the first day of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. And may you have a blessed holiday, whatever you are celebrating. I look forward to seeing you in 2023. Take care, everybody.